Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves in the midst of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, having started a war in the process, we thought it would be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, we're going back to the Mandoverse. It's the Mandalorian, Chapter 17, the Apostate. All right, guys. Good to be back doing Mando. Good to be back doing Plus&Us, honestly, because Jacob, I've got to give you and Rohit and everyone else a ton of credit because I have more or less fallen out of the Marvel Disney Plus side of things. So you guys have, you and Dragon have really been helping me out there by keeping it covered. But alas, Mandalorian, I'm not going to lie. I am not thrilled about this premiere. I think it had a couple good elements to it. Ultimately, though, I do think it's pretty much what we were sort of worried about with the Book of Boba Fett situation. I think this episode is like a lot of just recapping what happened there. That being said, I mean, there are some cool set pieces here. Like, obviously, that crocodile thing was a pretty cool opening action set piece. My favorite part of the episode by far is just like seeing the new status quo on Navarro. Like, that is absolutely like kind of what I'm living for this season is kind of that whole struggle to keep Navarro in a respectable position as a new planet that's kind of like under Republic order. So I really like the stopover there. I don't know. I just feel like this wasn't a bad episode by any means, but for me it was a little bit business as usual. It was a little bit like, okay, like it definitely didn't blow me away like the season 2 premiere did. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic about the season. I will say, Grogu using the Force to spin his spinny chair, that might be the best Grogu moment ever. But yeah, it's like I said, I don't want to come on and just be like, it sucked, it stank. But, it's like I said, I definitely feel like outside of a couple cool action set pieces, the stuff that we get early on with the Mandalorians and kind of setting back up Din Djarin's mission statement for the season was a little bit repetitive if you watch Book of Boba Fett. And the final action set piece was like fine, but for me it was kind of just like, I don't know, like a weird pacing of like, okay, and we open with an action set piece and then we're gonna get a bunch of admittedly really cool kind of status quo building stuff on Navarro, and then we're going to end on an action set piece. So I don't know. I'd probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. Not a terrible episode by any means, but the episode didn't exactly get me stoked for the season going forward. And that's kind of where I'm at on it right now.
Okay.
Jacob, what are your thoughts?
I guess I'm still going to be slightly more positive. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I will concede to the potentially repetitive nature of things, but maybe it's necessary for those who might have missed the Book of Boba Fett in any capacity.
Boba Fett, where? Sorry, couldn't resist. Go ahead.
All right, I don't think you want me to continue then. So
No, go ahead, Jacob. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, as I was saying, it was a nice catch. Some people might have seen it as a good way to catch up to the status quo, or for those who might have missed Boba Fett. And admittedly, it was obviously, as you said, it started out with a bang. We got to see Mando in action, taking it down, and it basically down that giant crocodile creature at the beginning, and then it led to basically Din's crisis of faith in having to basically wash away his quote unquote sins.
Jin needs to get baptized.
Okay. Anyway,
All right.
So like, I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, and of course the pirates, of course seeing the pirates again. Seeing the pirates did leave me wondering where. It's like it did get me wondering that we're going to see Hondo this episode, but
Yes, I absolutely was with you there, Jacob.
Dragon.
Oh, for sure. I thought there was going to be a little bit dodgy.
As soon as the pirate showed up, I was like, "Are they going there?"
And then they said, I was saying, "Well, where's Hondo?" And they said, "Boss." I was like, "Oh boy, the boss is going to be Hondo." That's a lot of Hondo teasing this episode.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm to the point where I'm pretty sure we're going to get him this season.
But considering these pirates, the way they looked and even somewhat sounded, it leads me to believe that they will bring in Hondo. Hopefully, at least. They at least showed his species, so that's a sign.
If Hondo is like the Ahsoka Tano of this season, where we spend like most of the season building up to him, I'm totally fine with that.
It's like, I would be down for more Hondo!
Hondo and Naka, transport solution.
So you're the Mando. So you're the Mando I've heard so much about.
God bless Hondo and Naka.
So it was like, admittedly, that did get my hopes up, but I don't think it took away from it when he didn't show up. And and admittedly, seeing traditional space pirates was pretty cool after seeing them visited once again after Clone Wars touched upon it. And we did get to see Bo-Katan again, so no, again. Yeah. So again, like I said, like it has kind of like a high stakes, low stakes, high stakes, low stakes kind of like escalation kind of thing. So I think it balanced it out pretty well, but maybe not the best. Probably not the best of the premiere so far. Actually, probably like the weakest of the season premieres if you count like the episode chapter 1 and chapter 9. But still, I think it's just a serviceable opening, and I can't wait to see where it leads us.
I mean, I think with Book of Boba Fett, like, I really do think that is a factor that kind of handicapped this episode. Not crippled the episode, just kind of handicapped it a little bit. All right, Dragon.
Yeah, so I enjoyed this premiere. I did. I mean, look, yes, you take the the Book of Boba Fett in consideration. You have just the dramatic, like, honestly, with Book of Boba Fett, yeah, you kind of need both. I mean, the biggest thing this episode, like, the recap is very useful for anyone just watching. Let me put it this way: it's kind of like Daredevil in the sense of, you have the first season of Daredevil, and then Defenders happens, and then you have Daredevil season 3. So you are missing like a one aspect of how the heck did that building fall on them?
right, yeah.
So, I guess that's why I didn't buy it, because I'm kind of used to that. Where like some of the best shows, sometimes you're gonna have like that interconnective thing of like, well, if we kind of set up that he could pop up in other stuff, then we might have a detail like that. But this is a pretty substantial one, because just given how 2 ended with the whole, like, he's giving the baby away. In season 3, there baby's all back. We're all so that is something the show was going to have to combat. But I mean, I guess sometimes, folks, you got to watch the recaps. Anyway, even so, the recap didn't really fully, I don't think, grasp the whole, like, how the baby came back. Just more, okay, well, the baby.
I don't even really think we saw Luke in the recap at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. We don't see Luke at all. So we did kind of still glaze over it. So yeah, there's still a missing hole there. But I mean, honestly, Mando, I think, sums it up nicely in the episode. Like, it's a complicated story. Essentially, I completed my quest, and the kid found his way back to me. That's all you really need to know, ultimately, I guess. But I'm just seeing more so for me the only thing you kind of lose in this episode, but we find in a different way, not as dramatically, awesomely staged, but still, like, we had the first big Mando episode from Book of Boba Fett, in which shows up and we have the Darksaber fight, in which then he's revealed to be an apostate. That's a really big moment. That's an excellent episode, and we basically have the fallout of that, but we don't quite have the drama of, like, that feels like it would have been a great 2-parter like that, then this somehow, but obviously we need Baby Yoda to come back, so it was not quite in the
cards. Yeah, I understand why they did it that way, because honestly, with Book of Boba Fett, we did get a lot of heavy lifting out of the way with, like, him getting a new ship and reconnecting with Grogu, so, like, I'm honestly, because if they would have played that out within the season, all that probably would have been at least the first couple episodes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I do like that what this episode does is it visually restates like in a bottle, if you're going to start the season needing to know what he wants, I think we visually hit all the marks we needed to, and we reestablished, okay, Din Djarin has a very simple goal this season. Where again, we got 2 seasons out of
Din Djarin wants to get baptized.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is what his quest comes down to in the end.
Well, yeah, kind of, yes, but yes, essentially, my point is, sorry if I can find it again. Just restating the joke. God. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're restating what he wants because we got 2 seasons out of like we gotta protect the baby or we gotta return the baby. So the point being, it's very very central kind of like Grogu kind of plot lines for the first 2 seasons. And now it's very simple, very Din Djarin focused. And again, we'll hopefully really delve into where he's going to end up at the end of the day. I'm thinking it sounds like we're getting more Mandalorian, which always the question is, will we reach a point where it's going to follow a different Mandalorian by chance? Like, could it be the Bo-Katan show? Could it be the Paz Vizsla show? Who knows? It's possible, but it seems like we're going to have like a decent 3-act kind of structure here for what we've kind of established about him as a character and why we like him. And then we're going to go to a point where we need to establish, what is he going to do with all the growth that he has, with like what he's learned about the culture. And we've been peeling back the layers of the Mandalorian, of what this is the way really means, and also the whole Death Watch of it all, and like this kind of splintering of the Mandalorian culture. So all this is, I think, summarized nicely here, but we're not going to get all the whammo blammo stuff in episode 1. This one just, I think, restates things and kind of gets us started in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of plot, but who doesn't like a little nice help in a plot now and again?
God.
So
I really don't think there's that much to go over with the episode's opening act. Like the action set piece is definitely cool. Let me ask you guys this though. I'm curious if was I the only one who thought that when they were preparing the helmet and it was the little kid and everything, was I the only one that thought that we were seeing like the origin story for Din Djarin?
Yeah, I thought we were for a moment. I thought we were flashing back to basically fully restate. Here was
like the moment where he puts on his helmet to contrast with how big of a deal taking off his helmet was.
Because initially I'm thinking, how old is the armorer really? And we
right.
But yeah,
my thought was like maybe that I thought that kind of was like when Mando when he was a kid, like being officially brought into the
he's
cult.
sworn in he's pledging the oath to
pledging the oath to the Mandalorians. Like,
so I will say that Mando and Grogu kind of sweeping in on that Naboo starfighter ship, that was a cool kind of subversion. I feel like they probably like intentionally set it up for us to think that way.
Yeah.
And as for the armorer, it could be entirely possible that if it was a flashback, it could be passed down to the armorer.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So for a moment, I was wondering age-wise, like, well, I mean, I don't know, perhaps like age-wise, she could be older under the helmet, or it could just be a passed-down mantle. And again, we could have like a pre-Paz Vizsla thing for all we know. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But yeah, it was honestly. I love how it symbolizes Din Djarin's goal all in one thing and why this matters, and he's trying to redeem himself for that rite of passage that we're seeing happen right there. And essentially, that's what he wants to happen to. That's what needs to happen to him this season, which makes me think, by the way, speculation was, he's not going to be baptized. He's not going to get that baptism. He's not going to get that redemption. When he goes there, he's going to end up either being dry or he's going to be close to it, and he's going to have to sacrifice that goal. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think he's actually going to be able to get that baptism for 2 reasons. One,
there's so many Book of Mormon jokes I could make right now. Anyways,
one. The main reason is, again, I just think for the sake of he's going to have, I think the purpose of his arc is going to be, all the growth is that he's going to define being a Mandalorian on his own terms and break tradition. Secondly, it's unclear, but I mean, they could always just keep this under lock and key. It sounds like Pedro Pascal may not have been on set at all during this. There's a chance we might not see him without the helmet, period. So,
basically, I don't think he was there for a lot of filming season 3. Mainly because they're also filming The Last of Us at the same time.
Now, to be fair, usually per Mando season, they only need to have his face shown like once. So I mean, that's a question. There's a chance they could have gotten him in there if he was there on set for like 1 day. Plus, they do have to get him to record. So if they could, hey, Pedro, can you go to the volume for like a just hop to the volume for a quick second? Just pop the helmet off and put it back on, and we're all golden. So who knows?
So yeah, the action set piece with the crocodile monster was cool.
What are you talking about? Favorite detail in that scene?
Yeah.
So Paz Vizsla, man, my eyes are focused on this guy because this guy's and his father was a big deal in Clone Wars, and we've set this guy up, and he's had some interesting bits because we set up like just kind of a grudging respect between him and Mando, and then in the Book of Boba Fett episode, he had a huge moment where he fought him for the Darksaber.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a sense that meant that thing is, from what I understand, is passed down from I forget if it was Tar Vizsla who was the original or not, but whoever the first, I think the first one to wield that thing was a Vizsla. This means a great deal to him, and
also the ruler of Mandalore.
Exactly. So this is a huge deal for him, and I like that we see here he saves that kid, and that to me is like you're thinking, okay, Paz Vizsla, he's been at odds with Mando, ergo he might be kind of like the bad guy, the antagonist ultimately. Plus his father was a real dirtbag. Ultimately, he was a real jerk. Pretty Vizsla, so it makes you. I just like seeing him save that kid. And it's an example of he might be in the antagonistic role, but he is not evil by any stretch. He thinks this is his birthright because he's been kind of fed the Death Watch lies. It seems he's been indoctrinated. So I think we're setting up with Vizsla is that he's Mando without an arc, without growth, without a Grogu. That's who this guy is. He's like Mando if he never changed.
I could see that. Yeah.
And you see how bulky his armor was? He's not going to be easy to take down.
No. Remember, that's Jon Favreau playing that guy, too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Probably just the voice, right? Or under the armor.
All right, we have Tom B saying that sea monster looks way too much like the Mosasaurus from Jurassic World. At this point, does anybody feel the Darksaber itself is more of the curse than inheriting it honorably, than not inheriting it honorably?
Well, nobody's really used it for its intended purpose yet. Like really, leading Mandalore. It's just more like the thought of what comes with it as anything. It's like maybe heavy. Maybe in this case, this season we'll explore like heavy is the hand that wields the Darksaber. So,
Sure.
So maybe we'll see that explored later this season.
All right, so we do get a nice stop off in Navarro. And like I said, this is where most of my favorite stuff in the episode comes from, because not only is it just like, we get some really nice classic Star Wars imagery, like the Salacious B. Crumb monkeys hanging out in the tree and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really like the status quo that they're setting up for this place. And honestly, I wish it was fucking Galaxy's Edge. Honestly, guys, it's getting to the point where they're establishing Navarro as a location so well that I honestly think you could just palette swap out Galaxy's Edge and turn it into Navarro at this point.
Who knows? Maybe Navarro becomes Batuu.
Yeah, because I'm saying, we got the Mandalorian and Baby Grogu already running around Batuu right now. So I don't know. Just a thought. Reef Karga, man, this character is getting better and better, and he's really evolving into this series Lando in a really good way. I feel like the parallels between him and Lando right now are really, really interesting.
It's High Magistrate Karga.
Mm-hmm. Also, I kind of like how they basically just Poochie wrote out Cara Dune. Poochie is on another planet. He has important business to do.
And he died on the way back to his own planet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do like that they don't, Cara Dune could technically come back. I would certainly, in light of everything, I'd like to see her again. But I did find that a little bit awkward, where it's like, oh yeah, Cara Dune, that's still a thing.
At least they acknowledged it, and then just
I'm also glad, Jacob. I'm also glad that they at least gave her a name drop, because they very easily could have just ignored her entire existence. So,
yeah. Okay, so Dragon, what are your thoughts on all this?
Just like the Navarro status quo stuff.
You there, Dragon?
I think we might have lost him. Dragon. Oh dear.
Oh boy.
Dragon, you there?
Yeah.
I just saw his mic like mute and then unmute. Huh. Dragon, I don't know. You might want to you might be having some okay. Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
All right, let's keep talking then, so it doesn't seem too awkward.
So yeah, of course. Well, let's spend some time talking about literally spinning the chair because again, my God, that whole idea. It's like, Jacob, I swear to God, the writers must have a competition in the writers' room. Like, all right, how are we going to make the most adorable Baby Yoda moment this time?
It's like, who hasn't dreamed of you've been a kid, you love spinning around in office chairs. And
of course, yeah.
And who hasn't dreamed of using the Force to do that?
Dragon, Jacob, I gotta say, it really is one of those things where it's like, for me, I feel like the easy fantasy of using the Force, kind of the go-to example, is like using the Force to reach for the remote or something like that. You know what I mean? And I gotta say, the spinning the chair, that's something where it's like it's so obvious once I saw it as a visual, but I myself have never thought to actually do that using the Force. So I love it. It's just such a casual little detail.
And it's totally something a kid that knows how to use the Force would do.
Yeah. Dragon, you with us? Oh dear. Okay, that's weird. Usually he has technical issues before the show starts.
Oh boy.
Huh. All right. Well, Dragon, if you can figure out your audio before we end out the episode, we'll definitely loop back around to your thoughts on all the stuff we're talking about right now. It's unfortunate though. Let's see. Any other Navarro Easter eggs you appreciated, Jacob? Like I already mentioned the salacious bee crumb monkeys in the tree.
Now let's see. There's I guess it's not really an Easter egg, but actually since it actually becomes kind of a plot point, the tribute to IG-11.
Yes, IG-11. That is one thing that, first of all, I was intrigued that they were going to go there with the whole okay, let's resurrect IG-11.
At first, I thought it was thinking, they're just. I mean, I was wondering why they included him in the recap in the first place. But
I absolutely took note of that. Yeah.
I mean, I was
that's one thing about those damn recaps is that if any character who's already dead or something pops up, it's that there's some kind of shenanigans or we're going to get a flashback or something.
Or at least some story thing will be brought up.
I
thought it was that they just brought him back to since when they showed us the statue, okay, they're just reminding us what he did and why there's a statue of him.
Right.
But it turns
so
out,
for me, one of my favorite scenes in this whole episode is absolutely kind of that horror movie moment where half of IG-11's body comes to life and just goes into full-blown Terminator mode.
I mean him crawling like that, it's this guy straight up pulled out of the Terminator.
It was pulled out of the Terminator. It also very much reminded me of Dragon. I don't know if you're actually with us, but if you can hear me right now, you can acknowledge this. The IG-11 body kind of crawling towards Baby Yoda very much gave me a Breaking Bad I See You vibe, where there's that very iconic moment in Breaking Bad where one of the cousins is half, he's literally half put together and he's crawling towards Walter White. So.
Yeah.
Shoot. Dragon, if there's anything you think we could do on our end to help out your audio issues, I don't know, maybe leave it in the comments or the private chat. I feel bad that it's not, that it's just not going well for you. Shoot. All right. Well, I guess we should probably talk about one of the big cameos. Was that Babu Frick? Was it the Babu Frick? Because I don't think they name dropped him.
I don't think it was him. I think it was just his species. I think it was just his species.
Same. But it's neat to see the species again, I guess.
Yeah, they seen him. And it does highlight the fact that pretty much all of them are technologically inclined.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like the whole idea of using a Babu Frick style creature to repair IG-11. That's definitely a solid plot point. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it was nice to. Because you can kind of understand what they were saying for most of the part, but it was kind of funny just having Grief like just leaning in into the little hole, talking and saying what they were repeating, what they were saying basically.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was pretty funny. Even though you could kind of tell what they were saying since I had subtitles on. So if you have subtitles, if you have subtitles on, it just straight up tells you what they're saying anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the pirates.
Yeah, some pirates are basically causing trouble downtown at the schoolyard or at the school building. That
I really like the idea of the school building being the previous tavern.
Yeah, but
the pirates are so dumb and stubborn that it's like, no, we want to drink here.
It's like I can get you a drink elsewhere, or I can bring you.
Cargo Man, he's trying so hard to keep the peace in that scene.
They really remind me of a manager talking to a bunch of unruly customers.
Right, yeah. Trying to come up with a solution that both fits the business and them.
It's like, I can invite you back to my building to get you a drink.
Oh, man.
And then it's like I don't think they were being dumb. I think they were just more being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think it was intentionally being stupid. I think they were more trying to be malicious. Like you turned our school you turned our bar into a school.
Oh, I agree. To a certain extent, I think it absolutely was malicious on their end for sure. Again, I'm going to make another Breaking Bad reference. It kind of reminded me of in Better Call Saul, there's a scene where Hector Salamanca goes into Gus Fring's chicken restaurant, right in the middle of business hours and just starts to kind of harass the staff and basically ends up holding the staff hostage for a shift. So that's actually the moment that really kind of, locks in Gus Fring's staff as loyal to him. So that was actually kind of a big important moment for Gus Fring to a certain extent. But yeah.
Nice.
Dragon, where are you? I'm dropping all these Breaking Bad references and you're not here to affirm them.
Oh no. Yeah.
I'm looking he didn't. Yeah, Jacob, he didn't message you on Skype or anything, did he?
I'm not seeing anything. I think.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. It's unfortunate.
I think he restarted his computer.
That makes sense. Anyway. Shoot, I mean, I definitely want to keep this thing running long enough for him to give his thoughts on the Navarro stuff and everything, but I don't necessarily want to just awkwardly drag out the conversation longer than it needs to be.
Wait, all right, but like I said, like I was mentioning earlier with the pirates, when I saw those guys, I was thinking wait a minute, pirates. When we first mentioned there were pirates, there were pirates downtown to Grief, I was like, wait a minute, pirates, Hondo.
I really do think that Hondo is probably just too big of a character to just throw into the premiere. I truly hope that we're just teasing him, that we just got a taste of him. Dragon. Oh my God. Dragon, I'm legitimately sorry, man. Oh, Jesus. This is, oh man. If only it would have just not happened, if only the technical issues would have happened before we went live. I think this might be the first time we've been dealing with his technical issues on a live level.
Oh boy. Hopefully you can just leave something in the comments.
Well, I mean, I feel at this point, the next time he pops up, we probably should just tell him to do that. I don't know.
Well, back to what I was saying,
yeah.
They have well, obviously they're not against dropping big characters in season premieres already, but I mean, I can see why they would save Hondo for later on.
Yeah, I mean, Cobb Vanth is a big character for sure, but he's not like an iconic character, right? Like, there's no animatronic of him. I mean, Hondo, for my money, is pretty much the main character of Smuggler's Run.
I mean, he essentially is. I mean, he was only in like a couple episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, like he wasn't like a major character. Like, he didn't even have really any arcs dedicated to him. But I think it was just because he's like so memorable and iconic that they brought him to Galaxy's Edge.
I mean, he has such a cool design, man.
He does it, and of course, he has the wonderful voice too.
Of course. One thing with the Pirates, I will say, and it's really not even a complaint, it's just kind of like an observation. Disney, when they do Pirates, man, they really love their tentacle beards.
It seems in this case, yeah, but at least it makes, but at least someone makes sense for aliens.
Oh, sure. Like, and it's not like they just completely like copy and pasted the Davy Jones design. They didn't. It looks different enough.
And Davy Jones is still iconic.
Oh my, dude, Davy, don't get me started on how iconic Davy Jones is. But The Curse of the Black Pearl turns 20 years old this year, so I'm very much looking forward to doing a retrospective on that. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh my god.
What?
It gets 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years of Curse of the Black Pearl, Jacob.
Oh boy.
I was at Disneyland when they were doing the big red carpet premiere of Curse of the Black Pearl. And I remember they had like all these bleachers set up like literally on the rivers of America. So in order to walk the walkways of the rivers of America, you had to walk under these ugly bleachers. It was awful. Anyways.
Yeah, that's the... Whew. Anyway.
But then I remember like the TV Guide channel or something like that would always be playing like this kind of like, news bumper of like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie has premiered at Disneyland, but the park is not open to the public when the movie stars premiere. This is to prevent a situation where a guest could walk out of It's a Small World and into Johnny Depp. That pun, Jacob, has haunted me for 20 goddamn years. 20 years, that pun has stayed with me. So I guess we'll walk out of Pirates of the Caribbean and into Johnny Depp.
I did my waiting 20 years of it.
Imagine someone waiting in line 20 years for Rise of the Resistance.
With the current wait times, that wouldn't be surprising.
And the current downtime, too. I feel like the downtime is a more problematic thing with Rise of the Resistance, but I don't want to talk about that.
Well, at least it brings it back to Star Wars.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so it is interesting, they're definitely setting up that Mando is going to have issues with the Pirates this season. I don't think the Pirates are just going to go away after this episode.
I mean, he defeated their boss, but that might just only be like one guy.
I mean, he might have defeated like the lower level guy to Hondo. That's the thing. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Like, I did like the green guy's design though. I thought it was a pretty cool design.
Yeah, I like kind of like the seaweed beard.
Yeah, it was pretty. Like I said, it was kind of an interesting design. I didn't really need a lot of explanation. Like, just like, okay, just the guy has a beard. He's a pirate.
Right.
Like, so it's like, all right, I mean, Star Wars doesn't always take itself too seriously, and this is one of those times. Like, it's like he's a pirate. He has a beard. So yeah, it's like, and the pirates are kind of just like a fun thing for Mando to go through. It's like it led to a pretty cool fight.
Mm-hmm.
But the real crux of the episode is at the end.
Yeah, it is, but I will say that the ending is also kind of just like, it's cool to see Bo-Katan again, don't get me wrong, and I'm definitely stoked to see like how I'm very much anticipating her to be basically the main, not necessarily antagonist, but the main foil to Mando this season. I don't necessarily think we got a lot of new information out of this scene. I think once again, it was kind of like, it kind of mirrored that opening scene where it was more so just kind of reiterating stuff that we had already known about, like what position she's currently in. But it's still cool. Like the image that you have in the thumbnail was very striking. You know, like Mando walking up to Bo in that chair.
Mm-hmm. And basically, it's kind of highlighting they're definitely going to come. They might come to blows once again. Like she was kind of resistant to it at the end of season 2. But she's basically telling him like, you don't have to do this in order to be a true Mandalorian. Like, it's like she's basically almost trying to talk him out of it. Like, what if it's dry? You're just going to go to a dry planet.
Which is something that Dragon kind of theorized.
Yeah, so.
Tom B says Bo has really went from I love warrior traditions to I hate Mando traditions. Yeah, indeed. With Bo-Katan, I absolutely think since they've been kind of teasing up like a one-on-one duel between her and Mando since the season 2 finale. I mean, I don't know if just like point A to point B storytelling is any indication. I think we're probably gearing up for that.
Especially since the loss of her sister too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who was in love with Obi-Wan?
God.
Like that story is tragic. I tell you what.
Wait, did that happen in the Kenobi show?
No, it happened in Clone Wars.
Okay. I don't really know all that much. I know basically like the exposition that we got in season 2. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
I'm glad that I didn't miss anything from that Kenobi show by not watching it.
So, I mean, I don't know if I should explain this, but in the Clone Wars, like her sister was like, what was the name of the girl in a Moulin Rouge again?
Oh, Satine?
Yeah, Satine, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's actually her name in this because that's a reference to that. Satine Kryze. Like she was like the leader of she was actually the leader of Mandalore.
Uh-huh.
And she and Obi-Wan had a past together. And one of the most tragic things in the show is like a single line like about when on their differing faith at one point when Obi-Wan says, "If you had given me the word, or if you would have said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order."
Oh man, that's heavy.
Oh yeah. Dragon?
Hello.
Hey!
He's back.
All right, good timing. We had just run out of stuff to talk about, so now we can loop back around and talk about everything from your perspective.
All right. Okay. Well, again, I was trying to comment on a number of things, but I thought Tiki was being rude. Apparently, that was not the case.
No, Dragon. We lost you pretty early on.
I gathered that. Yes.
We straight up couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah.
No, I found that out, Jacob. Thank you.
Even now, you're coming in kind of tinny.
Yeah, I know it's not
probably using an alternate thing, Jacob. It's fine.
I know. I'm just saying.
All right.
Okay. All right. So let's see the. Anyway, so with Grief Karga, I love the camaraderie between Mando and Grief Karga. I love that they they really it's kind of going beyond the business side of things. It's like, hey, come on, like why don't you build a life here with the kid? Isn't that nice? And they're all pals. I really like that.
Like seeing them, the pair of them, and of course he's even trying to talk Mando into just like getting a plot of land on Navarro, like raise the kid. Raised Grogu. It was a nice gesture.
That it was. So the IG-11 of it all. So we turn the body. I love that it's kind of twisted. They turn the body into the statue, but it's a nice gesture. But we bronzed his corpse.
It's essentially like robot taxidermy to a certain extent.
Pretty much. So I love the idea that it's fitting that he only trusts IG-11 because it was technically the first being that saw him without his helmet on, and beyond that he's it's I love that crazy scene of his original programming taking hold and trying to kill Grogu, which is what started everything. So IG-11 really is kind of
Dragon, that scene is totally like an ICU moment, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I love how IG-11 looks very stop motion-y or very practical in the way they did that. So that came across very well.
I mean, it's basically as we talked about, like it's basically pulled it straight out of the Terminator.
Oh, for sure. Yes. So obviously, as you guys are going over, we take him to presumably Babu Frick and/or Babu Frick Light.
I mean, they didn't name drop Babu Frick, so Jacob and I are kind of assuming it is not actually the Babu Frick.
I like to think the main one is Babu Frick, just given that there's a very similar sound to him, and who knows, Babu Frick probably got around in 30 years.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like they could have definitely like name dropped him.
True. Well, yeah, maybe it isn't him, but still, it was really cute just seeing like Grogu, hugging Babu Frick and everything, and like, no, Grogu, no.
Yes.
Honestly, that's my other choice. One of my other choices for the thumbnail.
Very tempting. So, we had a cool pirate chase through space. You had some really great-looking asteroids, not seen since the days.
They were really good-looking asteroids. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. It's kind of silly that we're commenting. Look at how nice those fake asteroids look.
No, but I mean, you're not wrong though, Dragon. I feel like those were some of the better looking Star Wars asteroids.
Some of the asteroids in Empire were just straight up painted potatoes.
Right.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and it didn't even look bad then either.
No, what do you guys think was in the hyperspace? Like the thing that I took it that Grogu is like force sensitive, so he's kind of connected all living things to a sense. So he's kind of seeing like creatures in the hyperdrive, like in the hyperspace kind of thing. What do you guys think?
They almost kind of looked like whales.
There be whales here.
It's the Avatar 2 whales. That's canon.
Whales existed before Cameron. You know that, right?
Wait, I thought Cameron invented whales.
Yeah, James Cameron invented whales. What are you talking about?
Comic Beast has a theory. I think that's referring to that. It's like
Purgill from Star Wars. I have no idea who that is. I'm sorry, guys.
Honestly, I have no idea either.
Oh God, Dragon, do you know who Purgill is?
Well, wait, what's the name?
Purgill.
Purgill. Honestly, I haven't gotten that far in Rebels.
No, I'm not sure either.
I'm gonna Google it just to see what it looks like. Anyway,
so the pirate chase is cool. Let's talk about one of the cool creature designs, Gorian Shard. Man, Gorian Shard he's like basically what if Swamp Thing were an irritated pirate?
The seaweed guy, right?
Well, yeah, the seaweed guy.
Yeah.
We talked about him earlier, but we couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
But that's like I really loved his design, and it's like it's just like like sometimes Star Wars doesn't take itself too serious. Like he's a pirate, he has a beard.
Yeah.
Okay. Atomic Beast. I literally just Googled Purgill from Star Wars Rebels into Google, and like 4 or 5 different article theories of like what did Grogu see in hyperspace popped up. So I think you're probably onto something with that.
Yeah, that works out then.
And it is just like literally like kind of like a big space whale from what I can gather.
All right.
Except it has tentacles at the end, so it's not just the James Cameron space whale. It's more of like the Monstro from the terrible Robert Zemeckis movie. But anyways.
Well, way to bring the room down, Tiki. Thanks.
Well, I'm saying that works a lot better for a sci-fi story than it does like a story like that.
Yeah. So let me tell you one of my favorite.
That Monstro to have tentacles.
Anyway,
Pinocchio in space.
Don't tempt them, Jacob.
They've made a lot of Pinocchio movies.
Yeah, they have. That's what I'm saying.
I'd honestly be surprised if that hasn't been made yet.
It's going to be a robotic Pinocchio.
I would honestly like probably the closest thing we have is AI the closest thing we have to Pinocchio in space.
Yeah, pretty much.
And AI is weirdly one of the closer adaptations to like the original tone of that story, which is weird. Anyways,
Spielberg.
Oh god, dude, AI is fucked. Dragon, did I tell you that I listened to a Griffin Newman's podcast, and they did an episode about AI, and it was so cathartic because Griffin Newman had like all the exact same like eccentricities and just like uncomfortable vibes from that movie that we do.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, so
I've actually yet to see AI, but I'll let Dragon continue.
yeah, so the last thing to talk about, at least for me, I guess, the big thing, honestly, one of my favorite things of the episode, I love how we bring in Bo-Katan. I love the place I forget the name of the place. It's one of the neighboring planets, or, well, not a moon, but it's like one of the neighboring planets of Mandalore. Wherever Bo-Katan is, one, it's really nice. She's in like kind of this castle citadel thing, and I love the architecture of it. I love it's like a light rain always kind of falling on the planet. It looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I love he goes in there and she's in like this deserted throne room because she didn't return with the Darksaber. All of her basically the
it's a great visual.
Yeah. And I love that's kind of indicative. We have like a lot of throne sitting in our Star Wars shows here. So I love it's kind of like indicative of Boba Fett. So this is kind of like her empty kingdom. You know, and she basically she's feeling pretty salty about things like, you know, hey, that was my thing. To be fair, she could have said at any point like, hey, make sure I get to go after Moff Gideon so I can retrieve the Darksaber. She could have led with that.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's on her. It's not. But again, she acknowledged she's kind a big like girl. She knows
to communicate kind of moment.
And Mando even tried to give it back to her, but it has to be won in combat.
That's the thing. She's not mad at him because she knows she kind of dropped the ball on that one, and she kind of feel that in the scene. She's just more of like she's not happy with the situation. More so the fact that people dropped her like a bag of dirt once when she came back without the Darksaber. It's like, no, we're not following you on the cause. We're out of here.
I mean, it's understandable to be bitter about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, still, those people like, hey, we're going to go after... No, guys, listen, Mando has the Darksaber. I mean, we'll put him on the team and we'll be fine, right? It's like, oh, yeah, sure. But no one ever really had that conversation.
Uh-huh.
Because ultimately, that's what happened. He says, hey, can I join your team so we can go after mutual things and we go back to Mandalore, which I need to go to? It's like, oh, yeah, sure. But didn't.
Right.
Regardless, I do love the kind of the conflicting philosophies here. The whole conflict here being, well, you lead them, and the whole superstition thing of like, well, you believe in a curse and you believe in Death Watch and their cult like mentality of never take your helmet off. So again, they both have solid points there. It doesn't really make what Mando believes. Again, Mando's not coming up in like the pure like Death Watch, like no, we hate the old way of Mandalore. He just comes up because it was just like they found me. I owe a debt of gratitude to them, so I was inducted in the ways of that.
Yeah. I actually feel like that is some character development for him because I feel like season 1 Mando very much would have been like, this is the way, this is the creed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this season Mando's going to have to confront like what it means to be, kind of an offshoot of Death Watch and basically a Mandalorian. He's going to have to define what a Mandalorian really means. We're going to have to get into kind of that. We're going to have to talk religion. We talked politics before in Star Wars. We're going to have to talk religion.
Oh my God, I don't think Star Wars is ready for that conversation, Dragon.
Well, they did like Immaculate Conception.
I feel like the fan base is just warming up to the idea of politics.
Well, to be fair, Star Wars has touched upon religion before.
Oh, I'm just kidding, Jake. Of course Star Wars has talked about religion. They've talked about religion as far back as like the original trilogy, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean even all throughout, like, even though like Clone Wars like this heavily political.
Oh yeah.
They did have quite a few religious stuff involved in that too.
All right. So I think that's about it, right?
It is kind of interesting to note that Filoni isn't actually working on this season, it looks like.
Well, no, he's writing one of the episodes, which is most likely, if we're going to do a Hondo episode, it's probably going to be that episode.
Oh my God, I hope Hondo is the Filoni episode. That would be amazing.
Well, if you notice, he's not actually credited as like one of the producers of this season. Like,
I did notice that, yeah.
But in his place, you get Rick Famuyiwa. I can never pronounce his name. Well, you know who I mean.
110, the 310 to Famuyiwa.
Rick Famuyiwa, yes, him. in his place, we got him as an executive producer this season. So that's
well, he directed the large majority of the episodes, so that's not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is fair. So
yeah,
and plus Filoni's now like basically overseeing all of like a lot of the story stuff at Lucasfilm anyway. So
I mean,
plus he's
Filoni
probably really busy with Ahsoka.
Filoni really should have. Yeah, he's very busy with Ahsoka, of course. He really should have Kathleen Kennedy's job at this point.
Well, he wouldn't be able to write and do what he loves. So
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
This is a really dumb idea. What if just Filoni just walked out with like a Kathleen Kennedy wig on? And he's just like, okay, guys, here's what we're doing with Star Wars today. And it's like, wait a minute, you're not. Shh, don't just go with it. Just go with it. Okay, Kathleen, what do you want to do today?
Then no one will know.
Hey, Kathleen, why are you wearing that hat? Shut up, man. Let her do it.
Oh God.
John Ferris walks in the room saying, I don't even want to know. Let's just sips his coffee and like
that your movie sucks guy.
I don't even want to know.
I don't even want to know. Let's just make some Star Wars.
I'm just traumatized by Adam from Your Movie Sucks just consistently calling me John.
So every time his wife says, "John, are you okay?" He just turns around. Oh God! Oh, sorry.
John.
His kid would call him John just to freak him out.
Oh God.
Just to make him jump like in terror. It's like, oh, God, stop doing that.
Now I want to make a sketch that's exactly that. Just Jon Favreau just having PTSD over the Your Movie Sucks review. Oh my God. Anyways, guys, I think this is a pretty good spot to end this out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Jacob, any final thoughts on your end?
Yeah, not really. I pretty much gave a lot of my thoughts and pretty much throughout, and I don't have anything to say finally. I can't wait to see where it goes, and honestly, I hope one of those ways it goes is the direction in which Hondo is.
We need that pirate, darn it.
We absolutely do, man. Oh my God.
I mean, think about this before we go. I mean, I think one last thing. This episode, I think, did kind of lay out, we did do a setup-y thing in this episode where I think we have a mapping of how the season's going to go because we are going kind of questy again, where, okay, so he needs to get the Mandalore. We know that. So the road to getting the Mandalore, which we've established, is, okay, so he needs IG-11. To get IG-11, he needs a memory circuit. So he's going to get the memory circuit. Then he's going to go back to bring IG-11 back.
It did feel very video gamey, Dragon, where it's like, like you go to the hub location and then you get a side mission and you go off and do the side mission. You go back to the hub world and you get another member of your party. So I don't know. I haven't really brought this up yet, but I guess I'll say right at the end, like, I think Mandalorian and Andor can very much exist in the same space, and I think it's really cool that they're so radically different from each other. But you guys know me, like I am the Andor fanboy out of the bunch, and so it's like, it's a little bit of an adjustment to go back to a show that isn't just like going out of its way to try and be like political and substantial. So, anyways, I think that's it.
Yep.
All right. Well, big thanks to Tom Beast for joining us in the comments. And we will be talking the Haunted Mansion trailer immediately. Not these guys, but me and Paragon will be talking the Haunted Mansion trailer immediately after we end out on this. So if you all are interested in that, then stick around. All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano, just Plus and Us.
Watch out for Hondo!